wonderful good morning to you, Grenada, Caribbean, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, to you wherever you are. It is Friday, the 10th day of the month of December, and certainly we continue with a countdown towards the holiday seasons. 15 days and counting, and it's going to be all over before you know it. Welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm Joseph Cadore. We say thanks for being part of this exciting journey. And we started early in the year. Here we are. We are moving right along. Today I have two wonderful individuals, and today our conversation will surround and include the conversation of copywriting. It's a pretty extensive conversation, as you can well imagine. And today we're just going to try to introduce the topic to you. Keep the language as simple as you possibly can, trying to lower you and give an appreciation for copywriting. What is it? And the world that evolves around what are the opportunities that exist. My guest this morning, we've scored ladies first. She's turned the film industry upside down. Michelle Phillips, and she's here. My dear lady, I say good morning and welcome to the program. How are you? Lady Phillips, I didn't hear a word you say.
I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
Now I'm hearing you. It must have been the
I'm saying I am blessed. Thank you. And a pleasant good morning to everyone.
Wonderful.
Looking in.
Wonderful. The other goodly gentleman, he's become almost a household name. He's brought fame and notoriety to many, and yet the things that he's potentially capable of, the world has no idea. And he's executive producer, the man that has reinvigorated the Jack Malassie rhythm. He allowed us to find Lady Forrester from the doldrum of the backside of the desert for when she was. Ian Charles, my comrade, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Another day, happy to be here, and again, thank you once again to you and the GBN staff. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Gentlemen, sir, lady, we're about to delve into a conversation. I think it has become an everyday conversation, and while we hear of it, I think I can safely say that not much is known or even understand as to what is it, the industry, what we talk about. We hear the term copyright, and it seems almost like one of those brand names for an electronic device. But what is it we are referring to when we hear the term, or is the term being bandied about? Copyright. Ladies first. Machida, what are we referring to?
We are referring to the intellectual property and ownership as far as who owns the content, the creative content that is produced out there in the world. I know today when Ian invited me on this panel, we are talking it from the perspective of the music industry. So whether it's from the rhythm, meaning the producers that is involved, who is actually writing the lyrics for the music, how all those things are combined together, what are the equal shares. So you're talking about ownership rights for the intellectual property.
Ian?
Yeah, well, just to piggyback off of Ms. Phillip, is literally, like composition. So there's a few things that we need to define to get to the meat of the matter. So you're going to hear a couple of things. You're going to hear composition, you're going to hear composer, you're going to hear songwriters, and all these things mean different things. Mm-hmm. So you're going to also hear some things like IPI. What does IPI mean? Now, an IPI, or interested party information, is a number assigned to songwriters or publishers by the PRO, that is the Performing Rights Organization. It's normally a 9 to 11 digit number, and it gives you like a fingerprint. It gives you like your own identification.
Right.
So once you're involved with any type of copyright society, you're going to get your IPI. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the most critical things you have to do. And that's where we need to get all of our artists, all of our songwriters, all of our composers registered to some form of copyright society.
But why though?
Then you're going.
Sorry.
Why?
Go ahead. Why? Why do I need to? I write, I sing, I'm here to entertain the public. It's for them. Why do I need to register?
Simply put it, that's how you make your money. That's how you track how your work is being used in very colloquial, just basic, language. And what we fail to do as creatives, because as you know, right now I'm a filmmaker myself. So as creative, we're so consumed with the process of just creating and putting things out there, we don't realize the business side of of this whole industry, and that is how you're making your money. That's how people cannot use your stuff freely, and that kind of education, as Ian said, is necessary so people can understand their rights as far as how their work is being consumed in the public domain.
It's and also besides making your money, you have to also protect your works. I mean, your intellectual property. Not to say that, okay, well, I spend my time, creating, and then bam, you just using my stuff, doing willy-dilly all you want. No, you have to get paid. Any form of energy that is put out physically or mentally is work. So intellectual property needs to be protected. I need to be, get your money's worth and whatnot. So it's a system which is built for you.
Yes.
The issue I'm seeing and my experience, in the music industry locally is that the majority of the personnel, from songwriters to composers to the whole enchilada, I don't think we even have 50% of the population in that network under any type of copyright society. So that in itself is a problem, because Grenada's music is trending.
It has been trending,
and their interest in Grenada's music, their interest in Grenada itself. Mm-hmm. And we have a lot to offer in terms of the orange economy, the creative industry.
Yes.
And if we do not copyright or do not get it standard to copyright, we're going to have issues like we've seen already. And a lot of it stems from misinformation and no information.
Do you remember?
I totally agree.
So today's exercise is intended to we want to educate the public. You just mentioned the orange economy.
Yes.
What exactly are you referring to?
Ian, you want
to take it? Because that's right down your alley.
That's right down my alley. So before we even dive into the orange economy, I want to give context, because people are probably going to be sitting there watching and say, how do I fit into this whole music aspect of it?
Right.
And as Ian mentioned, this has been trending for a while. Back then with the gutter rhythm, with Island Traffic, I was attached to Island Traffic back in 2007, 2008, 2009. That's when we put on the gutter rhythm that went.
Mashada.
Yes.
You see, sorry for interrupting, but she's saying the gutter rhythm like it's any old rhythm.
What?
The gutter rhythm is very, very, very instrumental in the lineage of job music. Very instrumental. So you come from Jambalasi rule in 1991. Then
yes.
Then you go into the Rhythm Mix catalog.
Yes.
Then you go into All Woman Alone. Then the next major impact in terms of job music is the gutter rhythm.
Yes.
That really transformed. It really, really, really took the world by storm. And for those who don't know, the gutter rhythm is the same rhythm that Talapri sang, Wicked Jab, Loverman sang, Gutter. These are major monster musical hits.
Pipe. I think Alison Hines. Was it Skinny Banton from one of the Bantons from St. Vincent? What's his name?
Fabulous.
There was a lot of people. Fabulous. Yes, there's a lot of people we did back then under the leadership. So basically, for those who don't know who the producers were, you had Linwell Patterson, who was the executive producer. You had Marcus, and you had Peter, who created the producers for the gutter rhythm. And basically, my attachment to that, I was managing some of the artists back then, help me out here, Ian, was Wayne, names, area code, and those guys and then came up on the gutter rhythm. So what we did with the gutter rhythm, basically, in the context of what we're talking about today with copywriting, we actually went down to Trinidad and we registered the rhythm back then to allow other people to come on the rhythm and afford us the opportunity now to spread it out to different countries throughout the region. So we did what the reggae artist was doing at the time, having multiple talent in one rhythm. So we started that trend in doing that. So that was crazy. That's why when you go to a party right now, you just could have a whole session with just like the beat, the rhythm, and all these different flavors that is there. So that's where my involvement came in with the whole copyright stuff. We were championing and trying to educate artists since then about their rights whenever they're going into a studio, what their interest should be regarding the work that they're producing. Because again, most people are just about producing the work and putting it up on YouTube and not understanding that part of it. So we were very instrumental. Thank you, Ian, for me bypassing it so casually. But we did a lot of work back then with the society, making sure that these things are done. So that is something that we champion all the time. To answer your question, and I know we're going to come back to that, to answer your question about the orange economy. The orange economy is the language, that's the landscape that is now housing the whole creative industry throughout the world. So when you hear people are making reference about the orange economy, we're talking about how everything creative is contributing to the overall GDP of a country, of an industry here, because you have the green economy that is referring to the environment, but people tend to overlook creativity and the value that we are contributing. So we have a whole different economy now that is flooding here, and it is called the orange economy.
And that failure is primarily based on the fact that lack of knowledge, Ian. And people not really understanding, because for long you've heard the question is, how do we take Grenada's music to the next level? And you keep hearing, we have to take a business approach to it. But nobody ever actually says, well, what is the business element to it? Is it just about, I get up, I sing a jab tune for Carnival, and that's it?
Okay, so here's the thing. It's like, again, this topic is so complex because there are many avenues you could go. But let's zone in nationally. Now, if you go back to the days of Don Charles, my uncle, Dr. Dix, they started the conversation about copyrights. So even back then, they were knowledge of it. It went, they did their part, they laid some groundwork, but it never really took off. Then you have a few along the way. Then you have Linwell Patterson and Mashayada and these guys who really, I think, made an impact in that they were able to actually lay some groundwork. The issue, I think, is that, I don't know how to put this, let me put this diplomatic, the best way I could. The issue with this, with what's happening locally, is that for some reason, certain people think that whenever you have a contract or whenever you have anything in writing in black and white, oh my God, I'm here to take all my money. I'm gonna con you. You're gonna take on me. You're gonna take me for what I'm worth. No,
right.
It's actually
a protection,
protecting you, me, everybody who is involved. So everybody gets their fair share, because you have to understand, as a performing artist, I might be able to get money, okay? If I'm booked for a show or something, I get paid.
Right.
Now, what happened to the producer? Does he not get paid? Then you have distribution. What happened in distribution? Who gets paid? What percentage? So there's a lot, and I think there are certain entities who is trying to educate and have information available, because I was fortunate enough to be on a workshop put on by Spice Mass Corporation, I think earlier on this year, and one of the main talking points were copyrights.
Right.
The thing is, only about 11 people on, and I know I saw the link because I got it from an email link. I'm like, well, why is it that we don't have 100 people on?
So let me ask you this, though.
I could answer that.
Yes,
So I'm
Michelle,
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No?
No, I can answer that question because I think whenever it comes to the business aspect, because very similar to that workshop, we conducted workshops just the same within the festival, and you had an intellectual property attorney that was present talking about those things, and people just don't want to be bothered. I believe so. They talk the talk, but putting in the work is something completely different. And the resources is available. They are not taking advantage of the opportunities that is presented to them. So I think that's basically the answer.
So we talked about we've highlighted the fact that there is an economy out there that would incorporate the artists, the creators, whoever as part of that industry. But how do I get copyright at the end of the day? How do I get the protection? Is it something that happens automatically and help the audience so that to appreciate how does that take place? So let's say, for example, I have my device, I create a rhythm, or I decide I have my device again, Mashida, I put a clip together, I post it. What happens there? How do I appreciate? How does the whole process take place?
All right. So with that, no, you have to join a copyright society.
Okay.
If you're not into any copyright society, there's no copyright protection for you. There's no royalties. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit because distribution and copyrights are two different things.
Yeah.
And I think people mix up. I'm getting a lot of that in the local industry.
Right.
Like, hey, my music is distributed by Fox Fuse. Fox Fuse is one of the, I think up to last year, they were the biggest distributor for chutney, music, and soca. I'm not 100% sure how it looks like today because I know the world is a place where information is right at the fingertips, and the more you know, the more you grow. But I know as of last year, they were the number one distributor for chutney and soca music. Here is the thing. You may have a distribution deal with Fox Fuse. No problem. What they do is that they distribute your music and promote your music upon all digital platforms. Your Amazon, your Spotify, your Apple Music, your iHeartRadio, your Deezer, your Tidal, whatever. It's available. No, that has nothing to do with copyrights.
Ownership.
Nothing to do with
Intellectual
ownership.
properties, yep.
The only thing you could get from any royalties that is derived from that is through streaming and distribution.
Oh, okay.
And the streaming and distribution is like you get like 1,000th of a cent. For each stream.
Yep.
So you really have to be streaming hardcore to make a bunch of money. So that in itself, I mean, yes, you might have a big tune. The tune will get, couple 100,000 K. You might even reach 1 million views, but 1 million views does not equate to $1 million. Nothing close to $1 million. Maybe like 5,000. I mean, we came out with a rhythm in June, and the distribution royalties come back every quarter, 3 to 4 months.
Right.
We got over 10,000 views on one particular streaming service, which was Spotify, but that only equates to $40.
So much of your hard work.
Well, and again, that's what I'm saying. The copyright thing is so complex because you have to understand your genre, soca music, and everything therein. All the subgenres of soca, the jab, the bouillon, the whatever. Your clientele is not really a streaming and downloading clientele.
Right.
You have to understand that. And I'm not too sure. Do you go up and buy our music, JC?
Buy.
Exactly, right? And that's normally the case.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the best way I do is maybe stream it on YouTube, and YouTube will like have the least in terms of the lowest rates.
Right.
So if you compare that to a reggae or to a hip hop, it's different. I mean, it's not uncommon for a hip hop artist to drop an album. Hey, in the first week, it's 1 million and something streams. We not seen that in the Caribbean like that.
But why though? Why? What's the problem, Mashida? What does it take to get us over the threshold that we're on and take us to the greener pastures?
I think it's a combined effort. It's not just something that is done with the artists themselves, but also the government have to be a part of this, right? To secure how things get traded. Because we are trading our content. This is what it is. So if there are certain measures that are not in place, certain regulations and protections and provisions that is not in place for us, how can we have an industry here? You know, people are just doing things segmented in the sense like you're producing your stuffs independently, but we don't really have an industry here that is protected to a certain extent that we have, for instance, like in Trinidad, the Copyright Office is based in Trinidad. Trinidad have a place where people can go to. We in Grenada have to go to Trinidad or go to one of those other Caribbean islands that has the whole copyright set up there, or internationally to get our stuff situated. So internally...
Hold on. Let me interject. I mean, remember, we do have ECHO on the island.
Yes. Thank you for the correction. Yeah. They have to be more interactive in that sense. And people have to be aware of them. The younger artists, I should say.
Yeah, we do have ECHO on the island, but like I was saying, it's still a work in progress.
A work in progress. Okay. Folks, while we're here, because it's just an hour, and I want us to touch as much as we can. Infringements, it's become an everyday conversation when it comes to copyright. What is copyright infringement, and how can I get in trouble when it comes to copyright infringements?
Very easy, you know. You're using something you're not supposed to.
Break it down for me.
Not asking permission to use the work. Like, for instance, if I decide to use one of the Jambalasi rhythm just freely and decide that, you know what, I'm going to put it in my movie, not getting the necessary permission from the Jambalasi Corporation, and I'm just using it, you know, and they can come back to me and be like, we didn't give you permission, remove it, or we can go into arbitration, or whichever way we decide to do it, because I did not get the necessary permission to do that.
So is it that I'm just using it? Is it just used for casual purposes, or is it an infringement if I'm using it to generate financial gain, or is it that it doesn't matter?
It does matter. It depends on the terminology on when the stuff is out there publicly. Like, for instance, some people would disclose the use, right? Maybe you have use for just the whole casual. That's why you see these people say, this is just for entertainment purposes, the disclaimer that they're putting in there for entertainment purposes. Right. But if I now take that rhythm and I am making a profit out of it in the work that I am doing, then we did not have free license to utilize a work in a piece that is profitable in that sense. So quite often, that's why you would see if you're doing something, they would say there are free music or free rhythms in certain spaces that content creators could utilize, but not for commercial purposes. You have to get licensing rights for that. So that's how you are infringing on someone else's creative work. Like, you cannot just take my film, sorry, they're doing construction. You can just take my film and take it and put it into your news broadcasting without my permission, and then on top of it, that I'm just using that as a very broad example. And basically now you're saying, oh, this person presented it, and you're getting advertising revenues for that because you did not seek permission from the work that I've done. So we have to be very mindful of that.
When I come back, tell me, before we take the break.
That's why it's critical to be in a copyright society, because what the copyright society does is protect you from all these things.
Right. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about how can businesses, how they can protect themselves, business owners, in terms of what's provided to them and what's happening out there. 29 minutes gone past the hour this morning. Conversation, copyright. My guest this morning, Ian Charles Machado Phillips, turning the industry. You can take a little sneak peek into what's happening in the orange world. We take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back, Grenada.
always a top priority, and this is no different from the COVID-19 vaccines.
The COVID vaccines that we have available are very effective and safe, and it is very important for elderly persons and frontline health workers and other frontline workers to get it, because these vaccines protect you from becoming ill if you get COVID.
As COVID-19 vaccines are approved for use in the general population, monitoring for safety continues. Each COVID-19 vaccine goes through the same clinical trials and rigorous study as with all other vaccines, with the focus on safety and efficacy.
Nothing goes into the nucleus. Nothing affects the genetic code of the human. It is a very safe vaccine. This is a vaccine that we all need to take because it will keep us safe.
Vaccines bring us closer. Choose to get vaccinated.
It is a combined effort. We do need a lot more work when coming to our government as well as our private producers who are actually creating the aspect, because it's a dance that we're doing in order for it to grow. So I do agree with them that more have to be done. A lot of education. A lot of it is education.
Who becomes the agitator of this conversation, though?
What was that?
Who becomes the agitator of this conversation?
Individuals like Ian and myself and artists who has a vested interest in making a change. And what you're finding quite often too is, even if we're putting things on and starting conversations like this, other people have to be free to vocalize and not just talk. We need to stop with just talking, but actually acting, because there's a lot of effort and resources that goes into putting together these workshops. It's not easy to do these things. And the benefactors, meaning the creators, and as well as business entities who has a vested interest in investing in these creatives, need to be present in these workshops to understand how we collectively can grow, So it's a collective effort. And
And I'm agreeing.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead, Ian.
Here's the thing. I mean, that's the thing. That the person made the comment that we don't have we have a great fun. Fair enough. I mean, it's pretty fun, yeah, I would say. But the thing is, we have a booming orange economy. There is limited structure to it, and it just takes some structure in, and I think it's going to work wonders. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the definition of the orange economy by UNESCO, it says that it's the bringing together of the sectors of the economy whose main purpose is the production or reproduction, promotion, dissemination, or the marketing of goods, services, and activities that have cultural or artistic content. I mean, Grenada is right there. I mean, our Spice Mass alone in itself fits that bill. Right. And anytime from May to August, you have a bunch of right side thinkers like myself and Mashida who is hard at work. But the thing is, we are doing it from our own, everybody is on their own army. Yeah. Instead of being together as one and pushing it collectively.
Again, at the end of the day, as you say, it has to be a collective effort where all hands on deck, where people understand that this is not a one-man affair, but it is an industry, and it takes a pooling of resources to keep to make sure that industry is sustained. Let us get closer to home. We're in a culture where we download everything. We see. We play it, and I decide I'm going to take, because I love my Jab Malassi rhythm, and I love my... Take it easy. and I do love my dear friend Agnes Forrester. So I decided, well, okay, Ian has a video on YouTube. I'm just going to go download it, and I'm going to create my own little home video and share around for my friends. No harm intended. Is that okay to do? Where do we draw the line?
But here's the thing with that. That's not okay to do, because it takes somebody's hard-earned work and using for free. And that's why I say the copyright thing is complex because certain parts of the hemisphere have different regulations that goes with what you could do, what you cannot do. For instance, let's use YouTube, because YouTube is, I think everybody knows YouTube. So you might be in a party or something and you want to upload a video. Bam, you upload the video, but after uploading the video, you see you get an email. It says, hey, copyright infringements, XYZ. All right? Now, however, it does give you the option to say, here, yes, you have option, whatever. Once you go, it's called appeal. You could appeal it. You could appeal the infringement. Once you do it, say yes, it goes back up. Fair enough. But at the end of the day, doing it to make money is different from doing it to entertainment purposes. That's why I say it's not like a one cap fits all situation.
What should be the ideal position that media houses, I'm saying media houses, should adopt? So
pay royalties.
One of the things I agree with you. One of the things I recall, and Ian, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. Part of the whole idea of having your stuff copywritten, right? Media houses have to take a log of every single. They should be taking a log of every single music or every single song. That is played, right? The time, the date, and all these things. And at that point in time, a report is generated, which now have to be fed into the copyright offices, or whoever is doing the policing of those work can come and audit for those things. And I believe, Ian, again, let me know, from that is how the media houses now would be paying whatever fees that need to be paid out to those entities, so the distribution royalties and stuff can be articulated and shared in that sense. Whether or not they're keeping these logs...
Can it be argued that I'm here providing you free advertising opportunities?
You're a business. A media house is a business entity that is using this not just for entertainment purposes. This is how they are generating the viewership in the work that they're doing. So it's like, I'm a medical doctor and I'm saying I'm going to just utilize all your stuff from your pharmacy because I'm entertaining my patients. It doesn't work that way. These are the tools that is needed to generate the interest in what you're doing. You're not just entertaining.
So does it then become, Ian, a symbiotic relationship?
Well, again, there are many types of royalties. There are six types of royalties.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is I know this is just the first conversation, but there's so much we could go into. But there's 6 types of royalties, so you got to see where you fit. But getting back to the local state of mind, I know when Echo really got on board and was trying to make an impact, they were faced with a lot of resistance. Backlash. Resistance from promoters, because what's going to happen is that if you have a show, you need to get the playlist for the night that the artist is singing. That was a problem. Radio stations, I'm not too sure where GBN stands in this, but I'm here to tell the truth. There were radio stations that were opposed to paying the royalties. So you see that there is a breakdown along the lines. We need everybody on board so it could be matriculated across a more collective avenue. So what I think the main royalty for you guys is going to be sync licensing fees, and that is, like, for instance, Mr. Killer. Let's use Mr. Killer, because Mr. Killer, I think, is one Grenadian artist who is benefiting from royalties.
Right.
But he's one in 100,000 versus it should be
100,000. Yeah,
100,000.
exactly.
Well, I know how many people people makes up the artist, but if your work is being used into the TV show, games,
commercials,
movies, commercials, it's called sync licensing fees. That's where it comes in. Now, if you don't have that, you're not going to get no royalties from it.
Okay.
In the US, your traditional AM, FM stations, they have a rule which comes under the digital performance royalties that they don't have to pay royalties. for radio play on your traditional AM and FM stations. However, everything else have to pay.
Okay. And I guess that's where the concern comes with stream when you go to social media.
This comes on a digital performance still, you have to pay. Once your stuff is copywritten, you have to. That's one of the main goals for us, for Jambalasi Grenada, is that we have to copyright. No matter if the song is a banger in the world or one person hears it, you have to copyright your work.
But how expensive is the process though to get it to copywritten? Because I'm trying to figure out, you have a hit.
Good question.
Everybody's listening to it. What could be so wrong, so difficult in getting it copywritten? Is it an expensive process?
Well, there is a fee, obviously. I mean, this is 2021. There's no free lunch. If there's a free lunch, you need to run. But
True.
But yes, you have to pay to sign up to your copyright society. And again, you could sign up based on many different. You could be a producer, you could be a publisher, you could be a songwriter. Whichever fits your portfolio. And there is fees that are assigned to it. Once you do that, obviously you have to fill out some forms, fair enough, your information, and get it done. What I think the main thing is that people maybe not aware where to start, but like I say, Google is your best friend. Google is one of the 9 wonders of the world. So you just go in, you put in Copyright Society, you get a bunch of them. There's BMI, there's ASCAP, there's ECHO, there's COT, the list goes on. And you interact and you go through and you see which one works for you.
And we also, in addition to ECHO, we also have an intellectual property office here in Grenada too. So you can always inquire just for certain guidance in that sense. Pick up your phone and send an email, or you can ask these questions. There are some, a lot of us do not utilize the services of attorneys before, and the first thing artists will say, we ain't got no money to pay an attorney.
Right.
But God forbid you get into some legal problems, right? You're like, where are we getting the money to, So part of what I've learned while I was going to school is when you're putting together your portfolio, you have to put, and your budgeting and your budget, you have to take all these things into consideration. What is your legal fees? You have to budget these things in because you need protection. So for me, it's about relationship building, right? So you need to start building your relationships, whether it's with attorneys, whatever. You can say, you know what, I have an attorney who's an intellectual property attorney. Hey, can I pay you in XYZ? Whatever is the situation. It's all about relationships. And that way you can protect yourself, especially if, this is my fundamental belief, if you are unaware of certain things, you seek the necessary help first before it's too late, and quite often we do things reverse. And we pay a big steepy price for that. So
we're keeping our eyes to the clock, 15 minutes onto the hour. Do you get the sense though that in our case, we guys are keeping it local for now, that everybody team is an artist. They sleep, they wake up, they somewhere and they just decide, you know what, let me put a big tune together. Monday morning, they bust a tune, and everybody's an artist all of a sudden. Do you think that's what's adding insults to injury? That's why there's probably that lack of drive, even maybe from individuals, even bothering them, because who's an artist? Everybody is. They show up today, tomorrow they disappear. What happens? What is this?
And I think we're all creative, right? And I'm not going to sit here and disregard someone else's.
No. Get me right. Get what I'm saying. Get what I'm saying, Michelle.
I share the same sentiments with you because I say the same thing sometimes. Everyone feels that they're a filmmaker, right? But there are certain practices that takes place because we all have a camera. But coming out of it, I think what separates us sometimes too is your intentions. What is your why, and what is that drive that really puts you into that place? Because being an artist, you can have a one-hit wonder or something like that, right? But being an artist and being a creative, this is a culture. This is really something that is innate, and you have to put a lot of work into developing your skill set, and your craft. So I think that's what kind of separates it. Some people, I may just wake up and did not realize I had that talent, and wow, I'm just good at what I do. But
Right.
you need that kind of mentorship and that kind of guidance to grow into what you could become. So from that perspective, yeah. And I think regarding that, I think because of that, you're right. Most people say, well, we can, that ain't going to last long, but that's not necessarily the case. I think if you prove yourself and you really put in the time, you grow as an individual.
That's why, Ian, I'm getting the sense that have to address this concern is the issue of ensuring the policies must be in place. That starts even at the governmental level.
It must.
Hold
It
that.
must.
Hold that different, because I have a caller that is on the line. I've been taking most of my comments from social media. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning, Joe.
Good morning to you, sir.
I'm joining late. I planned to listen to the program, but I got sidelined this morning, and I'm still on my way back. I don't know who I heard you mention Ian, so I think it's somebody I know. My name is Jude Bernard. I am
I know, Miss. Hi, Jude.
Hi, Ian, the chairman of the Grenada Coalition of Service Industries, and we have been in close contact with Ian. I've gotten the latest name, and I'm not on my television. But the coalition has tried very hard to work with ECHO and other, the groups that are involved in the producing of services. It's a very difficult thing. Somebody mentioned a one-hit wonder just now. There is nothing wrong about having a one-hit wonder. It may be a single hit.
Are we not saying this wrong?
Yes, it may be a single hit that changed the world. And it makes you royalties that could make you filthy rich for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Every little is important and valuable. You understand the point I'm making? Every piece of work that's created by someone is valuable and should be respected. But we have a problem. People don't value creative efforts and activity. I do mainly market research. And people don't want to pay for research. You hire 20 people to go out in the field. You pay them thousands of dollars to get your work. You bring it in. There are people who would spend $100,000 in advertising. And they won't spend $3,000 to find where best to spend that $100,000.
Let me just say to you, caller, just to offer some clarity. When we mentioned one-hit wonder, it wasn't in any way to underrate, in any way to underscore the person's value. The point we're making is that the society, because it is not a society, the industry, because it is currently unregulated, and it goes back to the point that Ian was making, that it needs to be a framework that establishes, because very often today you hear somebody say they're an artist, and you seem to wonder, well, what qualifies them to be an artist? Is it because they wake up in the morning and they feel to sing raga 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 raga, and you see them on Soca Monarch or somewhere? Does that qualify them? Or should there be an agency where they're registered? If you have a song, you do an audition, you go through there, and they start. So what we're saying is that it should start by where there is a structure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And Ian knows that I support that, and we've tried to work with them. It hasn't always been easy, but we believe, I believe that the services will be a major important part moving forward in Grenada. Let me give you an example. I would do, speaking about that research, you would do that research. It costs you so much money. And someone from a well-established media house would tell you, okay, I could save you some money if you give me a soft copy of that thing. Send it to me by electronically. You don't have to print it.
I'm not hearing him.
And I would, so give me a copy for it. Now, what I ask you to do, void your copyright. Send them your stuff digitally so they can use it as they wish. And they're making you think that they're doing you a favor. How much does it cost to print a 60-page document that has cost you $20,000?
And I think, caller, it actually, just to add what you're saying, I think what it goes back to is educated, and the education can't just start on your end. You understand the value of what you've put into it. I think
But
it
I'm
has
talking
to be,
about a managing director of a major media house.
No. I think you get in. We want to keep the conversation. You get into something specific now, which I understand. I think what we're saying today is that there need to be a general effort to educate all on sundry, because you might be assuming because a person is a managing director in an entity that they have an active working knowledge as to what copyrights is all about. So we are assuming those things, and that's just the point I'm making. But I understand what you're saying.
The level at which people disrespect creative effort. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Not only lower level only, not only guy on the streets who buy the thing and pirate it at the highest level.
But I don't think it goes back to disrespecting. I think it goes back to possibly not knowing, lack of knowledge. And people sometimes only react a particular way because they think they know, and then they realize they have no idea what is it that they're actually getting involved in. And I think you would agree that's the purpose of having a conversation like this on this platform this morning, to start the process of educating and sensitizing people. Ian?
I'm not able to hear the caller.
No, the caller is actually the caller has already.
Oh.
I was just.
Okay.
I'm summarizing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, like you're saying, one of the main things, and I really love to see this. We need to have the copyrights and the understanding standard for us to, reap our benefits that we should. For all the hard work we're putting in. And again, if you look at the trend in which Grenada's culture and the spice mass in itself is going, they're going more on a commercialization of the product. In that case, then you need to have your music, you need to have your content on a world standard platform. And we need that.
Mishaida? 5 minutes. We have just about 5 minutes left.
And to add to what you're saying, and just to support that, it's education. I sing education continuously. That is a big part of what I do. And in order for us to grow, I am a huge advocate of the collective effort. We need to have more workshops, and as a caller alluded to, a lot of work goes into preparing things, and people need to start understanding the value of things and the effort that we put in. And if we are saying that there's a workshop, come out because it's a lot of resources that needs to be put in place, and we cannot grow if we are not actively participating in educating ourselves in making this industry stronger here locally, in order for us to have things to export on a regional and international level.
I think we'll all agree collectively that one of the challenge that there is that we always assume that because information is out there that people are actually being educated. And it is a gross misrepresentation. There's access to information, but of course, dealing with copyright, we've just only scratched the surface, and there is so much that is there. So suddenly we assume that people know because we're in a better position of knowing. And the truth is that they may have no idea what it really. This even if you go back to the artists, if they really understand that penning a song, even if you pen it, whether you pen it in your bathroom or you get it while you're on the way to work. But this is an opportunity, Mishaida, for me to change my economic status. Then I will then do what I have to do to take care of my creative work.
Of my work, that's right. I totally agree with you on that.
100%.
Folks, 5 minutes gone to the hour in the morning time. I'm assuming I'm just going to give you guys a minute each just to summarize this. Our conversation today, and certainly I'm hoping that the plan is for us to have this continuous conversation to educate the public as we take it to another level. Mishaida, I will start with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to start this conversation and this narrative today on a topic that is so vast and is so absolutely necessary. And we need more mediums like this to actually reach wider audiences here internally in Grenada. And if there are anyone from government all the way down to private sectors, let's see how we all can come together in the new year to kind of strengthen our economy and our industry here by allowing us to, or supporting us to have more workshops, bringing in more necessary resources that our artists can develop a sustainable economy here in Grenada, because we need it. We need it as individual artists, as collective artists, and as an industry on a whole. So thank you to you and all of the viewers out there that has taken the time to tune in to listen to us this morning.
Ian?
Yeah, well, I mean, Mashayla said it perfectly. No, she did. I mean, just having the conversation is a step in the right direction. And hopefully someone heard something that they may have, never heard before. They learn something. They say when you learn, you grow. And the artists, the songwriters, the producers, the promoters, the media houses, we need to understand our role in this ecosystem and do our part so we can have a sustainable ecosystem in terms of the orange economy. And with that note, I must say, please continue streaming our music on the platforms. I had to put it in. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. I've gotten full rights from you to play it, and that I do. My dear sir, lady, if you don't mind, would it be a problem if you give us your contact details how persons can reach you in case they want to have a follow-up conversation with you?
Oh, sure. For me, it's very simple. They can reach me through the festival, 1261 Film Festival. That's across all social media platforms. They can email me my first name at 1261 Film Festival, and I'll respond in that sense. But I just say what we do from a festival standpoint to what Ian does from a musical standpoint goes hand in hand. And for all of our video creative content creators, because we did not include our video directors today in this conversation, I think people also need to start paying attention to that, because without these directors, most of the music is just that, music. Nothing wrong with that. But the visual aspect, we bring it in there. I had to drop it into you.
Well, you had to, and it's making a whole lot of sense. Folks, this is where the conversation ends for today, but the ship continues to sail. It continues to sail, different ports, different direction. The general consensus is it's a conversation that requires all hands on deck. We at the GBN will continue to play our part in getting the right people here that could start the conversation, ignite that conversation, and we can take it forward. Folks, until then, I'll leave you here for now. It's your boy, JC. Indeed, it was a pleasure being here with you from 10 this morning. Where to from now? 'Tis the season. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. Where am I going to engage you again? I'll be back with you tomorrow at 10 until 12, where you know what we do on a Saturday. More music, less talk. We also will be from 11 to 12, Sports Central. Until then, peace and love. JC loves you. Continue, as I say to you, live life and love life, Grenada. Treat each day as though it's your last day on planet Earth. You sleep and you wake and you recognize you're still here. What do? You start living all over again. Mashayla, Ian, all the best. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You take care.
Thank you.